What if I told you that the luckiest thing you could ever find is already growing in your backyard right now? You've probably walked past it hundreds of times. Maybe you even pulled it out as a weed. But here's the thing. A four-leaf clover isn't just a symbol of luck. There's a real science behind why it exists, why it's rare, and this is the part nobody tells you, how you can actually grow more of them on purpose. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly where to look, how to grow them, and the shocking history behind why the whole world became obsessed with a tiny little plant. Don't skip ahead, because the most surprising part is coming in about 4 minutes. Everyone says a four-leaf clover is 1 in 10,000. You've heard that number your whole life. 1 in 10,000. Impossibly rare. Pure luck. But science just proved that number completely wrong. Modern researchers studied thousands of clover patches and found the real odds are actually 1 in 5,000, not 10,000. Studies now suggest the chance of finding a four-leaf clover is closer to 1 in 5,076. Which means they're twice as common as the legend claims. But here's what's even more interesting. Four-leaf clovers often appear in clusters. If you find one, there is a good chance another may be nearby, because genetics can influence an entire patch. A clover plant with a tendency to produce extra leaflets may spread and create neighboring plants with similar traits. So when someone finds 3 in one afternoon, they're not magically lucky. They just found the right patch. And in a few minutes, I'm going to tell you exactly how to find, or even grow, that patch yourself. Now let's talk about where this whole lucky clover thing even came from. Because the story goes back way further than Ireland. Way further than St. Patrick's Day. Ancient Irish druids used clovers for protection charms and luck. They believed it would ward away evil. These were the most powerful spiritual leaders in Celtic culture. And they specifically chose the four-leaf clover as a tool of protection. The earliest documented references in written history appear in works such as Sir John Melton's 1620 play, where spotting a four-leaf clover was equated with receiving good fortune. Then, during the Victorian era, people believed these leaves could do something even more extraordinary. They believed a clover with 4 leaves not only meant good luck but granted the finder the ability to see fairies. Think about that. For centuries, people weren't just carrying these for luck. They genuinely believed this little plant unlocked a hidden world. Different cultures assigned meanings to the 4 leaflets: faith, hope, love, and luck, elevating 4-leaf clovers to near-universal symbols of positivity. And this belief spread so far and so deep that even today, in 2026, SpaceX incorporates a 4-leaf clover in its mission patches for good luck. A custom that started with its first successful Falcon 1 rocket launch in 2008. A billion-dollar space company, still using a clover for luck. That tells you everything about how powerful this symbol is. So why does a 4-leaf clover even exist? Normal white clover, Trifolium repens, is genetically programmed to grow 3 leaves. That's literally what its name means. Tri means 3. A white clover leaf should, generally, only have 3 leaflets, which is why the species name is Trifolium. The 4th leaf is a genetic mutation, a rare glitch in the plant's DNA. But here's what scientists discovered that changed everything. The genetic factors behind 4-leaf formation involve a recessive genetic mutation occurring in about 1 in 5,000 plants. And this is the key insight: that mutation can be triggered by the environment. A Japanese high school student named Minori Mori actually ran an experiment on this. She found that 4-leaf clovers are most likely to show up in well-fertilized soil. By adding extra phosphate, double the normal amount, she doubled the rate of 4-leaf clovers in her test plants, from 1.6% all the way to 3.2%. Read that again. She literally doubled her chances of growing 4-leaf clovers with phosphate fertilizer. Other factors like heredity combined with exposure to certain chemicals or low levels of radiation may also increase the rate of mutation and frequency of occurrence for future clover generations. So luck has nothing to do with it. Biology does. The part everyone wants to know. How do you actually find one? Most people do it completely wrong. They get down on their hands and knees, staring at every single leaf,
going cross-eyed for hours, and they find nothing. The secret is not to look for them at all. Just casually walk around that clover bed, perusing the area, and eventually those four-leaf clovers will actually begin to stick out amongst the more common three-leaf clovers. So why does the four-leaf clover even exist? Normal white clover, Trifolium repens, is genetically programmed to grow 3 leaves. That's literally what its name means. Tri means 3. A white clover leaf should, generally, only have 3 leaflets, which is why the species name is Trifolium. The 4th leaf is the genetic mutation, a rare glitch in the plant's DNA. But here's what scientists discovered that changed everything. The genetic factors behind four-leaf formation involve a recessive genetic mutation occurring in about 1 in 5,000 plants. And this is the key insight: that mutation can be triggered by the environment. A Japanese high school student named Minori Mori actually ran an experiment on this. She found that four-leaf clovers are most likely to show up in well-fertilized soil. By adding extra phosphate, double the normal amount, she doubled the rate of four-leaf clovers in her test plants, from 1.6% all the way to 3.2%. Read that again. She literally doubled her chances of growing four-leaf clovers with phosphate fertilizer. Other factors like heredity combined with exposure to certain chemicals or low levels of radiation may also increase the rate of mutation and frequency of occurrence for future clover generations. So luck has nothing to do with it. Biology does. The part everyone wants to know. How do you actually find one? Most people do it completely wrong. They get down on their hands and knees, staring at every single leaf, going cross-eyed for hours, and they find nothing. The secret is not to look for them at all. Just casually walk around that clover bed, perusing the area, and eventually those four-leaf clovers will actually begin to stick out amongst the more common three-leaf clovers. Your brain is a pattern recognition machine. When you're not forcing it, it naturally spots things that don't fit the pattern. For leaves in a sea of threes, your subconscious will catch it before your conscious mind does. Here are the conditions that maximize your chances. First, find the right patch. Focus on vibrant spring growth where chlorophyll production peaks. Avoid drought-stressed or dead areas. Second, search at the right time. The best time to search is during the spring and summer months when clovers are in full bloom. Third, focus on the edges. Search during May and June, focusing on the edges of patches where environmental stress triggers genetic variations. Edges matter. That's where the plant is dealing with slightly different conditions. More sun on one side, shade on the other. That stress triggers mutations. In a dense patch of white clover, a four-leafer lurks in an area of less than 15 square feet on average. Find a thick patch and slowly brush your hand over the surface. The center of a four-leaf clover has a different shape, and the fourth leaf is often smaller than the others. That's your secret weapon. Don't look for 4 leaves. Look for a different center shape. Once you train your eye to see it, you'll start finding them everywhere. How to grow your own. Now, what if you don't have a clover patch nearby? What if you want to grow your own? Here's the truth the seed companies don't tell you. Many seed companies sell products labeled as four-leaf clover seeds or lucky clover seeds. While some may come from plants with a higher tendency to produce extra leaflets, they do not guarantee that every plant will grow four-leaf clovers. Even from those special seeds, most plants will still grow 3 leaves. That's just how genetics works. But here's what actually does increase your odds. Plant white clover, Trifolium repens, in partial sun with moist soil. Avoid fertilizers. Nutrient-poor conditions actually increase mutation rates. Wait, that seems to contradict what the Japanese researcher found, right? More phosphate equals more mutations in that study. But here's the nuance. It's about the type of nutrient stress. Clover in poor soil works harder to survive, and that stress triggers genetic variation. Direct sunlight can scorch the leaves, but partial shade tends to encourage healthy, vigorous development. Watering should be done carefully. Let the top layer of soil dry before rewatering to prevent root rot. And here's the best part about growing clover. Even if you never find a single four-leaf one, you still win. Because 1 square foot of clover supports 5 times more pollinators than grass. Your garden becomes a sanctuary for bees and butterflies. That's the real magic of this plant. The forgotten benefits. Most people only know four-leaf clovers as a lucky symbol. But white clover, the plant that produces them, is one of the most underrated plants on Earth. It fixes nitrogen in the soil. That means it literally pulls nitrogen from the air and deposits it in your garden for free. Farmers pay hundreds of dollars for nitrogen fertilizer. Clover does it at zero cost. It's a natural ground cover. Stays low, stays green, crowds out actual weeds, and needs almost no maintenance. Feeds your lawn. When clover leaves decompose, they release nutrients directly into the soil around them. Clover's greatest gift isn't luck, it's ecological function. And yet, for decades, lawn care companies convinced people that clover was a weed to be eliminated. They sold herbicides specifically designed to kill it. Why? Because a lawn full of healthy clover doesn't need their products. The four-leaf clover isn't just lucky for the person who finds it. It's lucky for your entire garden. Here's something almost nobody knows. Four-leaf clovers are rare, but five-leaf clovers exist too, and six, and even more. The Japanese student Minori Mori grew plants with 5 leaves, and even an 8-leaf plant. 8 leaves on a single clover stem. Clovers can occasionally develop 5, 6, or even more leaflets, and these unusual forms are generally much rarer than the classic 4-leaf variation. The world record for the most leaves on a single clover stem is 56 leaves, found by a Japanese farmer named Shigeo Obara who spent years cultivating the same clover patches. He didn't just get lucky. He understood his clover. He understood the conditions. He worked with nature instead of against it. That's the real lesson of the 4-leaf clover. Luck isn't random. It goes to the people who show up, pay attention, and understand what they're looking at. So here's what you now know that almost nobody else does. The 1 in 10,000 odds? A myth. The real number is closer to 1 in 5,000. And in the right patch, with the right conditions, you can find multiple in a single afternoon. The history goes back thousands of years, from Celtic druids to SpaceX. This little plant has been humanity's symbol of hope for longer than most nations have existed. The science? It's a genetic mutation triggered by soil, stress, and environment. You can influence it. You can grow your own lucky patch. And the plant itself? One of the most beneficial things you can have in your garden. Free fertilizer, pollinator magnet, natural ground cover, all in one tiny green leaf. The luckiest thing you can do right now is go plant some clover. And next time you walk past a patch in your neighborhood, don't walk past it. Slow down. Brush your hand across the surface. Let your brain do what it's designed to do. Your 4-leaf clover might be waiting for you right now. This video helped you see clover differently. Share it with one person who still thinks it's just a weed. Let's change their mind too. And if you want me to do a full video on how to build a clover lawn from scratch, one that saves you money, feeds your garden, and looks beautiful, comment Clover Lawn below and I'll make it next. Until then, go find your luck. It's already out there.